Newswatch 16 investigates is off to the races. But we're not just tracking the winning horses. We're also tracking where casino money goes.
That money is not staying here in Pennsylvania.
Exposing what it's really paying for.
55 cents out of every dollar is coming back to Pennsylvania.
And nothing, I repeat, nothing, should stand in the way of quick passage of expanded gaming and property tax relief.
State lawmakers legalized casinos in 2004 under then-Governor Ed Rendell, promising Pennsylvanians the jackpot. They said slot machines would generate so much state revenue, homeowners would see their property tax bills drop by an average $300 a year.
There's the bill.
More than a decade later, property owners like Richard Peard still waiting for those savings.
They promised it to the taxpayers. It should be given back to the taxpayers.
On the average, casino money has cut property taxes about $200 a year. Peard's savings here in Nanticoke is just $160.
They never give you what they mostly promise.
There was another promise made you might not have heard about, a promise to Pennsylvania horse race tracks.
What the bill was supposed to do, it's doing.
Officials at tracks like the Downs at Mohegan Sun Pocono near Wilkes-Barre were told casino revenues would prop up horse racing, and this promise was a promise kept.
The casino money saved the racetracks, and that was the purpose of the act when it was introduced to the Pennsylvania legislature, was to save the racetracks and help the racetracks.
Newswatch 16 discovered $246 million casino dollars went to the state's half-dozen horse race tracks last year. But Richard Peard never knew the private horse race industry was getting bailed out, while property owners like him were seemingly left out.
That's for the racetrack? No, I don't think that's such a good idea. It should go back to the taxpayers.
And it's how horse racetracks are spending that money that might be most surprising to some people. Part 2 of our investigation is tonight on Newswatch 16 at 11. We found some of that casino money is used to fatten up the prize money won by horse race owners and jockeys. If you go to the casino and play the slot machines, it's gamblers' money that ends up paying for the winnings.
Here come the horses.
But Newswatch 16 found most of the winnings at state horse race tracks comes from casino money. Newswatch 16 poured over industry reports and state documents that revealed last year nearly 90% of horse race winnings, also called purses, came from the state's share of casino money. It totaled about $204 million in casino dollars. Dale Rapson is the vice president of racing at the Downs at the Mohegan Sun Pocono. Shouldn't the amount wagered determine how big the purses are?
Well, that's how it used to be, but then unfortunately that wasn't keeping the racetracks in business.
To put that in a different perspective, that $204 million casino dollars is about enough money to build 2 new high schools for the cash-strapped Wilkes-Barre area school district. But the hundreds of millions of the state share of casino dollars that goes to horse race tracks every year in PA is not enough to attract the big crowds that once packed the tracks. On a recent night at the Downs at Mohegan Sun Pocono, we found rows of empty seats. Attendance here was just under 61,000 spectators for all of last year. That's a drop by 10,000 people from the year before. Horse race fans have noticed.
We need more people out here. We really do.
How is horse racing benefiting Pennsylvanians?
It's 35,000 jobs, 35 to 40,000 jobs.
State Representative Eddie Dapashinsky supports some of the state's share of casino money going to horse racing. He points to jobs it's saving on the racetrack and off.
You have your stables, you have your stable operators, you have your horses, those that maintain the horses, you have the farms for those horses.
But remember that $204 million of the state's share of casino dollars that goes to just the winnings? Records obtained by Newswatch 16 indicate much of it is being diverted out of state. In 2014, here at the Downs at Mohegan Sun Pocono, more than half of all the winnings went to jockeys and racehorse owners who don't even live in Pennsylvania, but come here attracted by those big winnings.
I think it's time we sunset this.
State Republican Representative Todd Stevens rather see that casino money go to schools.
And it's not going to help any of these Pennsylvania industries or Pennsylvania workers. And that's really at the heart of why corporate welfare is so problematic.
And the Pennsylvania Agriculture Committee estimates about $100 million of those state casino money goes out of state in the form of that prize money. But officials say, Scott and Charlotte, it is difficult to pinpoint exactly how much of that is going out of state. Well, it turns out the state casino gambling law was backed by several horse racing lobbying groups, one of those actually claiming to have written part of that law. Taxpayers are raising concern after we showed them a horse racing lobbying group is doing more than just donating to our elected officials.
It almost looks like a kickback, but in a legal way.
Newswatch 16 went through years of campaign finance reports. We found since 2014, 3 horse racing lobbying groups donated nearly $50,000 to Governor Tom Wolf. That's all legal, but one of Wolf's biggest horse racing donors is the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. Its president is attorney Salvatore DeBunda. In his online biography, DeBunda takes credit for being the primary drafter of the horsemen's sections of the bill that became law.
That's not a good relationship.
David Sosar is a political science professor at King's College. Even though Pennsylvania had a different governor at the time the bill was written in 2004, he says having any special interest group draft legislation that would benefit themselves is a big no-no.
That makes people's ears pick up and assume the worst rather than the best.
We contacted DeBunda with an interview request as well as several of the bill's sponsors. We never heard back, but after we showed some taxpayers what we found, they had plenty to say.
I think the lawmakers should write the law.
That makes no sense, and it shouldn't be that way. It's backwards.
When casinos were legalized, lawmakers promised they'd generate so much state revenue, property owners would see an average of $300 in savings. Today, the average amount of property tax relief is less than $200, leaving some property owners wishing they had their own lobbying group.
Supposed to be paying for the taxes on the houses, and then somehow it seemed like they reneged on the deal.
Sosar says there may be good reasons why a special interest group would want to write a bill, but that job should be left to lawmakers and their aides.
The industry knows better than what you do, but really it's better that legislators seek that information but write their own bills.
And Sosar points out that the public has a right to know and should know where public policy is coming from. Matt Petrillo, Newswatch 16 Live Outsider, Wyoming Valley Newsroom.
Hey, thanks for the follow-up, Matt.